Hello everyone, Victor Lynch here for Carolina Outdoor Magazine, Thursday Night Tackle Bites. And this week episode we're going to be talking about love and bass fishing. That's right, love and bass fishing. And this is in honor of Valentine's Day, and these two may go in hand more than you might think. It's that time of the year where the bass are starting to heat up and things are getting a little lovey for the fish right now. It's pre-spawn period. And this is the time of year where things are getting really hot and heavy with the bass, and they are loving it because it's knocking off that cold winter. And they're ready to go out and start doing their thing because spawning season is just right around the corner. So we're going to be talking about a good technique that can catch you a lot of big bass this time of year. And it imitates one of the biggest things the fish are after right now, and that's the crawfish. You know, the sun's coming out more, staying out a little bit longer right now. And, you know, the crawfish are starting to come out and they're going to eat a little more. They're on these rocks. They're getting warmed up. And so the bass are hanging around these rocks. And, you know, they're going to be out there during this pre-spawn eating up everything they can see. And crawfish is on top of their list right now, along with shad. But we're going to be talking about, we're going to focus on crawfish right now. And we're going to be talking about jig fishing. So let's first start off by talking about a jig that's one of my favorite jigs I've ever thrown. I've thrown a lot of jigs, and by far this is my number one favorite jig. And this jig is a shooter jig. Right here, this is my favorite color. It's a black and blue. Yes, I have been using this jig. You can tell by the head beating off docks and trees and everything else. But this is a black and blue shooter jig. Great thing about this jig, the skirt is hand tied. You know, you can't even hardly see where it's tied at. You don't have to worry about the skirt coming off of it, anything like that. So it's perfect. You know, this jig has no problems at all. It's a great jig. I would suggest this to anybody. But anyway, let's get to talking about why I like to use this jig. First of all, let's talk about the head. You know, that's just a typical flipping head right there. This is nothing more. This head is not that great for trying to feel bottom, stuff like that. So really, I'm just using this jig for flipping purposes up against laydowns along the rocks. You know, it's not what I'm using for feeling. You know, I'm really just throwing this out there and just kind of fishing this back to me. I'm not really like I said, not using this for feeling. Let's talk about the trailer I use for it. 9 times out of 10, I'm throwing a black Zoom Fat Albert twin tail grub on it. This is a perfect bait for this. You know, you put these two together, it looks like a crawfish, especially in dirty, muddy water. You want to throw black and blue. Black and always holds its identity better than other lures, especially in dirty water. It's easy for the fish to see. So this bait right here is a good way to catch one, and it imitates a crawfish really well in dark water, especially in rocks. On a rock, you know, I like to fish rock on a windy day. That's my favorite thing, is fish black and blue jig on a windy day. I don't know why, it's just worked good for me. This is what this bait looks like when you put the Fat Albert on there. You know, it works great. I've had a lot of success with this. Like I said again, this head is just for flipping, really. You can't get a lot of feel off of this head. I've tried and tried. I can't. Maybe some of you guys out there have better luck with it trying to feel. Let's move on to another jig I like to throw a lot. This is a Terminator Jig right here. And I throw it in this color because, like I said earlier, I want to imitate that crawfish this time of year. It's what the fish are really heavily focusing on right now, and they're around rock. Red clay bank, anything warm that's going to get those crawfish moving. That's where they're going to be, and this is why I'm throwing this kind of color this time of year. It's got a real orangey back to it. You know, this is a Terminator head, a jig. Let's talk about this head. This is more of a swim jig head. Now, you can pitch. I do a lot of pitching with this. I also do a lot of swim jigging with this. I throw it out there, swim this jig back, wind it to me. You know, different cadences, figuring out what the fish want. This jig is an all-around jig. You can actually feel really good with this head. This is also another good jig. It comes with a rattle. I usually take a rattle off. I hardly ever use a rattle in jig fishing. It's just, you know, I want a silent approach to everything. So remember, Terminator Jig right here is perfect. It looks just like a crawfish. You know, it's perfect color. The skirts are great on it. Let's talk about the trailer I use for this, which is a Yum Money Crawl right here. This is in Bama Magic. I'll tell you why I like this, because this is like a green pumpkin color, but it's got these little blue, and I don't know how well you can see that. I'll try to reflect it off the light there for you. You can see the blue really well in this. I think I like the blue on the claw, excuse me, because sometimes crawfish's pinchers are blue, so that's why I really like these. And sometimes if I feel like I need to, I'll dip this in an orange dye. Make it, it's just keeping it looking like a crawfish. That's the simplest thing you need to do this time of year. Don't need to get fancy with these jigs. Crawfish is the best thing you can do this time of year. So I'll show you what I like about these. Usually this is completely too long for me, so I'm going to go ahead and bite this off. A lot of salt on that. Okay. See this? I cut it about right in half. And there you go right there. Kind of hooked it the wrong way there, but that's alright. But you get the gist of what I'm talking about here. That looks like crawfish. What I might go back and do with this jig is I would probably go along here and cut these skirts off. Maybe I would cut them off another 1/2 inch. It would really puff that jig out, and it gives a more natural look to it. It's something I do in almost all my jigs. Not all the time, but most of the time I'll go along, cut the skirt off. You don't have to cut it off straight across. On a jig like this, I would probably just cut the brown skirts off, leave most of the colored, the orange. But anyway, let's move on to the other one. Here's another jig that I like to throw. This is my next favorite, is a spider jig. This is a chomper spider jig. This is also, keep the color simple, guys. You don't want to get funky. I see a lot of funky colors at jigs. Only jig that I really throw is black and blue, some kind of green pumpkin, and during the brim spawn, bluegill spawn, I'm going to throw a bluegill colored jig. Other than that, it's going to be black and blue or green pumpkin, something simple. This is a perfect little bait right here. I throw these more in clear water because, it's a smaller profile. When you get to clear water, you want to keep things small. Fish aren't used to seeing bigger things. So this is a perfect jig to throw around docks. I love throwing a spider jig around a dock, especially because as hotter months, I'm gonna throw something smaller because fish want something as big. A trailer that I'm gonna throw with this jig is a small twin tail Fat Albert. This is I call it a creepy crawler but it's just a smaller version of the Fat Albert. This doesn't really match the jig that I would throw, but I don't really try to play a match game here with it. But run that up. It's gonna look just like I've been showing you already. It's a pretty little jig. These tails move a lot of water. That's why I like to throw these trailers, because they move a lot of water and they make a lot of vibration. And during the colder months, though, I wouldn't throw something like that because bass things don't move as fluidly when the water is cold. So during the colder months, I might pick up this missile D-bomb right here. This is a Desert Storm color. I throw it because it, yet again, looks like a crawfish. So these tails don't move as much on here. This is going a bit more of a flutter fall the tails are. So this time of the year, I don't want to do something. If the water's extremely cold, say low 40s, 30s, I'm not going to pick up one of those jig trailers because they move too fast. Like I was saying, the fish know that they know that things don't move like that in cold water. So it's going to kind of push them away for that. So I'm going to go for something like this color right here. Like I said, this is a missile D-bomb Desert Storm. This is a baby D-bomb. And these tails aren't going to move as fast. You know, they got just a pretty fall to them. But this is also another thing to imitate a big crawfish. And one last jig I want to talk about, if you're you're out on a big rocky point this time of year looking for those big pre-spawn fish right before they move into the backs of these creeks, a football head is the best thing to use for feeling the bottom. If you guys can see it, it looks just like a football. Black and blue, some kind of crawfish color. This can be a really good jig this time of year. A football head can be actually all year, but this time, if like I'm saying, out on these main creek points at the mouth of these creeks before the fish actually move way back in there, before the water warms up, they're going to be out here hanging out, and this is a good way to feel those rocks on the bottom, work the bottom if those fish are out there trying to feed up on those big crawfish that are hanging out. But this is a good way to do it. Like I said again, I use a shooter lures. Excuse me. Black and blue is my favorite, and the shooter, chompers, and Terminator jigs. These things are killer. And Zoom trailers. I don't really, I take it simple on my trailers and stuff like that. I don't get real funky with it. I see guys getting crazy with this stuff. I keep it simple as I can. But hope you guys took something away from this. Hope you can go out there, use this next time during the pre-spawn. And I hope you can catch some fish off of it. Guys, we appreciate you joining us. If you want to add me on Facebook, Victor Bradley Lynch at Facebook, v.lynch_fishing on Instagram, and also on Snapchat, Nitro Bass 1217. I look forward to hearing from you guys. I hope I do. Hope we can get connected and stay connected, and maybe you can teach me something. But anyways, guys, thank you for joining in, and we'll see you next time.